Morning. It's Monday and it's my first day in the office, my new outdoor office. But as I just said on the live stream, this morning wasn't as perfectly planned as I had intended last night. When I went to bed, before I went to bed, I sat down and I said, let's just go to bed. Let's be grateful for everything that's been achieved today, over the weekend, and over the last few years to get me into this space that will allow me tomorrow morning, which is this morning, to get up and start my new life. My new life being once again wholly self-employed. Not necessarily having to get up and having to go to an office, which I've done in various guises over the last 20 years, working employed and self-employed. So the intention was to wake up 5:15, 5:20, feel refreshed, jump out of bed and just get cracking, and to get on the bike and come down here to this space here, which is about 6.5 kilometers from home. So this morning, 5:40, I mean, I don't use alarms. I'm pretty much used to getting myself up in the morning just through waking up naturally. So I woke up 15-20 minutes later than I'd planned or intended or expected or hoped, and not that that's anything wrong. 5:40, still quite early, but you know, my days now are as busy as the next man's, but the way that I manage my day is very different than the way that I used to do it in the past. So I know that there are a number of different things fitting into that day, and they are in 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour blocks. So I know that this is going to have a knock-on effect, so I'm going to do a short video and then I have to get cracking because I've got another 6 kilometers on the way back home. Then I want to make a juice for the family, get ourselves energized and started for the day, and then we've got to take the boy to school, my wife to work, and I've got a bunch of meetings in different places during the day. So didn't feel 100% great, almost had that thought of like I used to have in the past. I failed, I'll just roll over and I'll get up a bit later when I feel this thought's dissipated, and then I'll get on with the day. And when I used to do that, what used to happen would be that I would go and lie back down again, and then I'd wake up even later, and then there'd be even more of a rush, and that would put me and the family under pressure, and that might then mean that there would be some heated words as we had not got up in enough time to get ourselves going. And that, you know, in most cases was my fault, and you know, I'll admit that, and those were my failures in those days, and that led me to where I am today. So what did I do? I stuck on my audio paraliminal. I have a 10-minute supercharger paraliminal, and I found that extremely beneficial for me to calm the mind and refocus the mind and allow me to crack on with the rest of the day. And I'll use that in the morning, I'll use it during the day sometimes, and I'll sometimes even use it just before going to bed to calm down the mind before then possibly listening to some other audio meditation before falling asleep. So it's about 10 to 6 and I get up, go downstairs, do a tiny bit of stretching, not as much as I wanted to. If I'd had that other 20 minutes, I'd have spent a little bit more time on the floor doing a little bit more rolling around, loosening up my back, and I have tight shoulders, so I'd loosen those off. But I just went into the garden, did some trigger point stuff on my shoulder using the wooden bench outside, had a glass of water, got on the bike, about 6 o'clock set off. And I could have, at that point, still just said, fuck it, you know, just go around the block or just don't bother coming out this way. But no, I'd set the intention years ago. I'd found this place a couple of months ago, and I said, I've got to come down and experience it. And I know that if I do that, then there will be something amazing that will come out of it. So I set off and put the Strava on, so tracked it down here. Been about 6.5 kilometers to get down here. And I am now sat at that bench, so I can pat myself on the back that I did that. I've done my morning commute, and I've reached this point. And it doesn't mean that now everything's perfect. It just means I've done it. You know, I've been able to break through a morning funk in a matter of minutes and get out there and do something that I want to do that's going to set me up for much better for the rest of the day. It might be a little bit of time lapse, I might have to rejig some things during the day, but so what? It's amazing. And just sitting here listening in the birds, that morning sound, it is I can take a breath. It's amazing. So I wanted to share that with you. You know, in the past I'd have gone back to sleep, I'd have got up, been stressed, I'd have grabbed a bowl of cereal, wolfed it down, jumped in the car, raced to work, and in that state I was overweight, I was unfit. I know that now, but I didn't really kind of appreciate that back then so much. And I'd race to the nearest point to work, the nearest car park, nearest available space to get to the closest distance from work, to have the shortest distance to walk into the office, to actually be the quickest time from parking the car to clocking in. And the insanity in all of that was, if I'd have got up earlier, I could have driven in leisurely, I could have had a healthier breakfast, I could have parked further away from work, I could have walked that little further distance to improve my health and fitness and mental well-being, got in earlier to clock in, and everything would have just flowed so much easier. But no, I kept resisting and pushing and grinding and living this life that wasn't serving me, and I didn't like it, and you know, why? And I had to change, but that had to be my decision at my time in my life, where I couldn't any longer neither afford or face living that consistent Groundhog Day of sleeping in, getting up late, being stressed with the family, wolfing down a breakfast that wasn't serving me, racing to work, getting in without a walk, and getting into work, and then sitting in a desk, and you know, that got me into the funk that it got me into, that I was literally depressed in work. I couldn't face going to work. I had things in my head that I wanted to do, but I was living this life that was incongruent with where I wanted to get to. So that was the gap, or the incongruency. I was doing things that weren't assisting me. So I had to go through a process of changing that, and it didn't happen like that, just immediately. I had to go through a process of accepting where I was, understanding where I wanted to get to, and making 1 degree shifts, small steps, changing what I drank in the morning, what I ate in the morning, how I got up in the morning, the time I got up in the morning, and then you extrapolate that back, and I had to change how I went to bed, and I used to have to stop going to bed at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and working too late to then not get enough sleep to get up tired. So I had to change the construct of that. I had to say, I'm going to go to bed at midnight, and then I had to go to bed at 11 o'clock, and I had to work out then the routine before going to bed of how to wind down myself, and how to stop working and stop pushing and grinding and pushing myself into that situation that meant that I got up late and then was stressed and overwhelmed and unhealthy. If I can help you start dialing things in, or changing things around, or bringing your thought back into 12 hours, 24 hours in advance of the next day, then I'd love to do that to assist you. It starts the week before, the month before, the year before, but if you start today, then you can think, what is that 1 degree shift that you can make today to help you get to tomorrow? And then as you get 1 month, 1 year down the line, you'll look back and say, it started on that day. I said I will make that 1 degree shift today, and it might be just drinking more water. It might be getting up 15 minutes earlier. It might be parking 200 yards further from work. It might be going to bed an hour earlier, half an hour earlier, 10 minutes earlier. It doesn't matter. You can do this. So I wish you all the best, and I'm here to help you. So thank you very much.